Hello and welcome to Hank Games Without Hank. My name is John Green, and here in League One, the Swindon Town Swoodilypoopers are up 2 points on the rest of the competition. Sorry, Doncaster, you're in third. Today we're taking on Carlisle United, also known as Carlisle United, and we're going to win. How are we going to win? With Leroy Williamson and Andy Rooney up front. I can't stop myself. I just love that combination. I love putting a ginger up front. Today I'm going to talk about spoilers and if they ruin the experience. So I'm not very good at saying when I've been wrong about things. I tend to when it's pointed out to me that I'm wrong about something, I tend to get extremely defensive. I think this is not uncommon. Oh! Did you just see that fantastic save from Green Eggs and Foderingham? I mean, I would eat them. Oh! Again! Again! All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, it's he who shall not be named. Coming out of the back. Look at the speed he's got. Look at the speed he's got. Just stay out of his way, for God's sakes. He who shall not be named. Oh, 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 Andy Rooney, you got to finish there. Oh, Andy Rooney. That was going to be the goal of the Swoodilypooper, the best goal in Swoodilypooper history. Oh. He who shall not be named just had one of the greatest runs I've ever seen, and Andy Rooney. John, I'm sorry, but it's true. John Green puts that out in the back of the net 10 times out of 10, and then he who shall not be named is exhausted and not a very good header of the ball, and that happens. Anyway, yes, I'm not good at saying when I've been wrong, because my impulse is to just be defensive, and instead of apologizing, it's to defend whatever I said that was wrong, or when I've changed my mind, to sort of change my mind slowly and, in reserved, conservative ways or whatever. This is particularly true when it comes to thank you for recognizing that was a foul, because he was grabbing me from behind in a way that was threatening and scary and illegal. Lionel Richie, Lionel Richie, Lionel Richie! Bad cross. Bad cross. I used to say that there was no such thing as a spoiler, because nothing worth anything in terms of art could be spoiled, because it isn't plot dependent. And I remain a little bit conservative about this, but I was wrong. So I'm going to hedge my bets just the tiniest bit in saying that I was wrong, but I was wrong. Go ahead and pass back and kick it hard. Good job. Spoilers are not ideal, but they don't ruin the experience of a truly great story, I don't think. So if you know the end of Gatsby, Gatsby is still good. I know this because I reread Gatsby once a year, and it remains good, even though I know exactly what's going to happen. And I hope that my books... Oh, Leroy Williamson! Leroy Williamson! Give me that robot! He's a finisher. I'm not even going to sing his song because he doesn't score occasionally anymore. I'm going to sing, Leroy Williamson scores in every freaking game. Leroy Williamson, he scores every freaking game that he plays. Such a good singer. I don't know why I didn't go pro at that. Why am I a professional soccer player? Or I should say, professional fictional soccer player, when I could be a professional singer. Yeah, so... in that sense, I aspire, I hope, I want to write books that can't be spoiled, in the sense that even if you know what's going to happen, the story still has power in your life. It still matters to you in some way that is real and lasting, and, that is important to you. That's what I want to do as a writer. I don't want to write a story where you read it once and you're like, oh, I never saw that twist coming, and then you're like, that's what made it a rewarding reading experience. Not that there's anything wrong with those reading experiences. That's just not what I personally find very interesting. So, so I guess that's what I've been trying to say, when instead I've said this pretentious crap about how I don't like spoilers, or how I don't believe good stories can be spoiled. Because of course good stories can be spoiled, including great novels. If you know the ending of Romeo and Juliet, it definitely affects your reading of Romeo and Juliet. So the problem in the age of the internet, of course, is that no one can have a conversation. When is it okay to have the conversation? Can I talk about Harry Potter now? It's been out for a while. Is it okay to... Oh! I think we were trying to do something a little too fancy. Probably should have just hit the regular Y button there, but I was feeling so fancy. I thought maybe like that was like a yeah. Andy Rooney wasn't up for the task. There's just no two ways about it. He's had a tough couple games, but he's a ginger, and I'm gonna leave him in because I like to sing songs about them. So yeah, like so that's it, that makes a difficult thing for the internet of like when can I talk about you know what happens to Snape. I'm not going to say what does happen to Snape. This video, by the way, spoiler free. But when can I talk? When is it okay to talk about it? That book's been out for 6 years now. Is it okay yet? Oh, was that He Who Shall Not Be Named? That guy's having the game of his life. But you know, at what point does it become okay? Is actually, I think, a very difficult question. And I don't have a particularly good answer for it because, to me, like. At this point, I think it should be okay for people to talk about The Fault in Our Stars, right? Except 99.9% of Americans, this is true, have not read The Fault in Our Stars. I know, it's shocking, but it's true. 99, maybe 99.8. A very large percentage of Americans. So like 1 in like 600 or 700 Americans has read The Fault in Our Stars. Now, like, that book has been wildly successful beyond all of my dreams, and I don't mean in any way to imply otherwise, but that's the definition of a successful book, is that it doesn't sell, you know, millions and millions of copies, except in very, very rare cases. And even then, I mean, let's talk about The Hunger Games. What percentage of Americans have read the Hunger Games trilogy? Maybe 4%? So 96% of Americans have not read the Hunger Games. Maybe 95% of Americans, but somewhere around there. So, you know, the vast majority of people don't know what happens in Mockingjay. Does that mean that I can't talk about what happens in Mockingjay, or that every time I reference it, I have to use a spoiler alert? And for the next how many years? 5 years? 10 years? Like, at what point do I say, okay, you've had your opportunity to read The Hunger Games, except you've never really had the opportunity to read The Hunger Games, because what if you were 4 when it came out, and you're only now getting old enough to read it? So that's where my spoiler policy of, like, I don't believe in spoilers came from, was that I just feel like what I don't want to do is I don't want to stifle discussion. Like, I don't want to end critical discourse on the internet just because we're afraid that people will find out the end to Hamlet. So that's where it came from. However, you know, when I wrote a book that was, for lack of a better word, I never thought of Looking for Alaska as spoilable, to be honest with you. Like, I always thought that it was, I meant it to be not surprising what happens. I remember when my mom read the book, and she thought that the chapters, for those of you who haven't read it, which is the vast majority of you, there are no real chapters, but like the sections of the book count down. The first half of the book counts down toward an event, and then the second half of the book counts down away from an event. So the first section is called, oh no! No, the first section is called 136 Days Before. Sorry, Meredith, did that hurt your ears? It was just, I was scared. And then, you know, the last section is called like 136 Days After. And you don't know, well, maybe you do, but, you know, it isn't explicitly stated in the before section what the event is. But I figured people would know what it was. But then when my mom read the book, she thought it was something completely different. And that was the first time that I realized that for many readers, that book would be, for lack of a better word, spoilable. But with The Fault in Our Stars, I knew that there was, you know, that there was something that some readers would find a spoiler and others wouldn't. And, you know, I mean, I think it depends on your sort of level of familiarity with the particular genre that I was kind of trying to be conscious of when I was writing The Fault in Our Stars. But anyway, I realized how much many of those books that I loved in the process of writing The Fault in Our Stars. I read a lot of books that I really loved that were completely spoilable, and that my relationship with them would have been very different if I'd kind of known what was going to happen. So, yeah. So that changed the way I think about it, and I mean I guess I am in favor of spoiler alerts, but I feel like for hardcore, you know, it was really important to me that the people who pre-ordered The Fault in Our Stars, who like made that commitment, and there were a lot of them, you know, there were like 60,000 of them, that those people get to read the book, and they get to read it, you know, the way that they kind of all get to read it on equal footing, for lack of a better term, you know, that like their book was going to be the same as anyone else's book. But then it has become progressively less important to me, and when I see all the stuff on Tumblr, and there is a lot of it that is like very, very spoilery, you know, I don't get that upset about it these days. I figure that, you know, it's just part of the book having been out for, you know, now almost a year and a half. So yeah, that's my take. Oh, I think we got to make a change. You know, I want to commend both Leroy Williamson. What did I just do? Why did I put C stuff in goal? That was crazy. I want to commend both Leroy Williamson and Andy Rooney on some fantastic performances. But the truth is that the bedrock of this team has always been three men named John Green. Me, John Green, and John Green. And that's not going to change. So I'm bringing them back if indeed there is a stoppage of play between now and the end of the game, which there may not be. Oh, boy. Woo, doggy. That was some tense stuff there. Good job, boys. All right, there's probably not going to be a stoppage of play. Got to accept it. Andy Rooney and Leroy Williamson are going to end the game, but are they going to end the game winners? Yes! Congratulations to the Swoodilypoopers. Spoiler alert, we won. Oh, look at those beautiful gingers. Look at them. Look at them together. Oh, God. Oh, thank you. Thank you, FIFA gods, putting those gingers in a shot together. Best wishes.